Keeping all your servers updated is very important, especially during these times of a lot of cyber crimes. So, I'll cover a couple server tips to help you stay safe. If you're like me and you have a bunch of cloud servers set up using Linux, it's kind of hard to keep a track of what servers have been updated and patched within your lab. For example, I have VMs in Google, Linode, AWS, set up for testing purposes. So in this video, I wanted to show you guys how to keep your cloud servers updated and patched automatically within Ubuntu. So let's get started. Okay, cool. So I'm logged into one of my cloud servers and I want to show you this cool tool that's included with Ubuntu called Unattended Upgrades. And this will automatically retrieve and install security patches and other upgrades for your server. And most Ubuntu servers actually come with this tool automatically installed and configured as soon as you set up the server. But if you need to install it, let me go down and show you guys how to install it right fast. And all you have to do is type sudo. It's just like installing any other application, but it's sudo apt updates, and that'll refresh the repositories. So let's type that in, type in our sudo password. That'll go out, refresh our repositories. That way everything is in sync. And as you can see, we have some updates. I'm gonna leave those updates there, but I wanted to at least show you guys how to install it. You basically type sudo apt install, and it's called unattended, and then I'm gonna tab it out. I just hit the tab button and that basically completed out the package name, because I wanted to make sure I didn't know where the dash was in it. I knew it had a dash in it, but that's the application package name. So let's press enter. It'll go through and install, and as you can see, it's already on the server. And that should be the case for whatever server you're running in the cloud, because most likely you chose the latest LTS version of Ubuntu, which comes with the latest and greatest version of unattended upgrades. Now, another thing you can do once you get it installed is actually check to make sure it's actually running on the system. So all we have to do is type sudo system ctl status, and then it's unattended. I'm gonna tab it out. Yeah, unattended upgrades.service, and you just want to verify that the service is running on the server. So as you can see, it's active and running, and it's been running since that was a couple days ago when I set up this server again. And then also the enable, so that means that it'll start every time. This service will actually start every time you reboot the server. So you get to go with installing unattended upgrades, and let me go on and go through how to actually configure it. So let's quit this or press Q. That'll get us back down to the terminal, and let's clear a little bit. That way when I pull up the configuration file, it'll be right there at the top, and the configuration file is stored under etc apt. So let's go on and open it up for you. I'll show you guys where it is. So let's type sudo and then you can use whatever text editor. You can use Vibe, Vim, whatever, in order to open up this file, but it's under etc apt, and then there is an apt.conf.d and then / and then the file name, and I'll just tab it out so you can see what's under here. But there are a bunch of like files under here, configuration files, but the one we're looking for is the 50 unattended upgrades. So let's type that in. So 50 unattended upgrades, press enter, and it'll open up this configuration file for us. And just looking at it, it has a whole bunch of notes in here, so to prevent you from actually messing it up. And if we read through it a little bit, I mean, it basically kind of explains everything, and it's in a format for you. It kind of tells you what everything is within the configuration file. It says automatically upgrade packages from these original archives pairs, and then note that Ubuntu security updates may pull in new dependencies from non-security sources like Chromium by allowing the release packet these get automatically pulled in as well. So but we don't have to worry about that because we're running a server. We're not running Chromium on the actual system, but there are some security updates that will pull dependencies, so at least you know that. Now by default, you don't really want to play around with it too much. There is some files that or some areas that you may want to uncomment, and just to show you guys what I mean, these are the base or the defaults right here. This will install basically your security updates, and then they have some other notes in here, and it says extended security maintenance doesn't necessarily exist for every release, and this system may not have it installed, but if available, the policy for updates and such that unattended upgrades should also install from here by default. So there is the app security repository, and then the infra security repository, and they also have some others that are commented out. Now you can uncomment these if you really need it. Make sure you look up what these repositories are, like updates, proposed backports, but I'm not going to mess with that. What the defaults are good for what you need, but if we scroll down a little further, this is mainly what I wanted to show you guys in here. If you go through the configuration file, there is a spot to actually reboot the server, and I typically tell people to set this up that way the updates that are done to the system take effect, but the only thing is this is not good for servers that have production software on it, because you don't want that stuff going down unexpectedly. You know what I'm saying? You could get an update during the middle of the day or something, and you may be, and somebody may be doing something, especially if it's a production server, and let's say it's got a database on it that people are working on or something. It'll reboot the server in the middle of the day, and you want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, that it doesn't do that. But if it's just a server that you're running in the cloud for testing purposes, then I don't mind setting that up. But let me see if I can find it right fast. But basically, install on shutdown. No, there is a reboot in here, and I'm not sure if I passed it or not. Oh, there it is right there. So all you have to do is uncomment this, and I went too far back, but basically all you have to do is change this from false to true, and that will reboot the server for you after you get updates. So automatic reboot, so whenever you get any updates, and then also if you read right here, it says without confirmation, so it's just gonna reboot the server. And this is something that I do for servers that I just have up and running, because I always want to make sure they patched, you know, properly. And I don't mind if they go down periodically throughout the day or whatever, whenever they get updates, or every week or so. Whenever it gets updates, it'll reboot the server, you know, automatically for you. That way all the security packages are loaded and being used. So once you make those changes, or whatever changes you actually want to make to the server, to the unintended upgrades configuration, then you could just close it out. Depending on what text editor you're using, just close it out the normal way. I'm not going to save these changes. I'm just leave it the way it is, because I like to, you know, physically reboot my servers whenever I want to, or whenever I think I need to. Some of them I do have automatic reboots on it, but a lot of them I actually don't. But I do recommend people, you know, use that option if you can, especially if it's not in production environment. But that's pretty much it on the unattended upgrades. And like I said, I just wanted to show you guys this so you know it's there and you can keep your server safe. And before I move forward, I want to show you guys, if you do make changes to that actual configuration file, you always want to restore the service. That way everything takes effect. So you can do sudo system ctl and then restore, and then the unattended dash upgrades dot service, just restore that service and you get to go. And also, if there are any syntax errors within that configuration file, it'll let you know there. It probably won't store it, so you will have to go back in there and make whatever changes or modify whatever changes you made in order to correct the configuration file and get it back going. And one thing I always like to tell people, please back up the file before you actually edit it. That's the best way to get yourself back to where you started before you made the changes. So what I typically do is just copy that file to the same location, and I'll put like .bck at the end of it as the backup. And then if I make a mistake and mess up that file, then I could just delete the configuration file and then rename the backup that we created by removing that .bck on the end of it, and then restart the server. So that's a good tip when working with configuration files. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as I stated in the intro, if you're working with a lot of cloud servers, then this is an awesome feature that Ubuntu provides with their server distribution. So go ahead on and check it out. And just to throw something else out there, Ubuntu also offers live patches for the kernel that you can set up on your system. And you basically have to sign up for an account and get a key, and then you can activate the live patching on your system. And I believe it's free for personal use, so if you have like up to 3 servers, you can actually set up those servers to get live patches when it comes to the kernel itself, and that's beneficial for kernel updates. So please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, leave comments down in the comments below. And as always, keep it techy.